Hey everybody, welcome to the show. This is TPIM SR Live. I'm your host, TruePowerIsMine. Today we have Dr. Randy Short in the house, in the studio, and we're going to be discussing a lot of things. But before we get into all that, you guys know that I very seldom ask for anything. I truly do. But if you have it, if you can't afford it, do not spend your damn bill money or whatever, just anything extra. Could you please share it with brother Dr. Randy Short? I have his Patreon up here for all you to see. And if it's hard seeing, it's patreon.com/Dr. Dr. Randy RANDY Short SHORT. Go to his Patreon, folks, and please help this brother. He does so much. Now, he's put his whole life basically trying to uplift and help us, share information, share that real history. And like I said before, if we're unwilling or unable to fund our own damn liberation, you best not be looking for anyone else to do it. I'm not trying to guilt trip nobody. I'm just saying it like it is. Now, that being said, like I said, if you can, become Dr. Short's Patreon, or if you have the Cash app, you can send him something. Send him some much-needed war bonds, because we are in a war. Send him some war bond funds at money symbol, capital DR, capital RANDY, capital HHORT. That's dollar symbol, Dr. Randy Short. And whatever, I don't care if it's just a couple of bucks. It's better than nothing. Peace and power to Brother David and Brother Leonard. Welcome to the show. Now, Doctor, you're still there on the line?
Yes, sir.
Sorry for that little infomercial there, but I just wanted to start. I wanted to start off the show with that.
Well, that's fair. Just so they'll know, right now, I'm literally working full time to get and launch the congressional campaign of Reba Hawkins, who's running for the 7th U.S. Congressional District of Maryland. We're trying to get rid of no good Elijah Cummings. And I want to let you guys know I've been doing this, working on this since August. And folks need to know, brother, true power is mine, that a lot of us do things gratis. People can't pay you for what you do, and the community needs to change.
Yes.
So we're working very hard, which means minus the people who've been blessed me. A couple of people blessed me last week. It wasn't huge, but believe it or not, it was just food money. Like what you just heard me eat, someone sent that to me. Sometimes we just need provisions to do the fight.
Yes.
I'm fairly certain that our campaign will get funded. And then that means that the time that I've spent will be compensated later. But when you have to pay stuff today and you're out there for the people, it's a sacrifice.
Yes.
But you know what? You got to eat. You got to at least pay your phone. You got to pay your storage. You got to pay small things. And I'm just very blessed. There are a couple of people that just do that. And believe it or not, it's not even a huge. We're not talking about four figures.
Right.
That little bit made a difference. I was with some workers yesterday. They had to eat. They hadn't eaten all day. Who paid for it? I did. I had it, and so I paid to feed some people.
That's
no problem. I'm not complaining. Money's a tool. And by the way, I just have to say this. Reba Hawkins is a sister who was born in D.C., but she lives in Baltimore. She's a gorgeous double Dutch chocolate-colored sister, about 5'9". She's a former semi-pro tennis player. She went to Morgan State University. She's a mother of two. She has a background in business administration. She's a minority business enterprise owner and a woman minority business enterprise owner. She's certified to do work in Florida, Nevada, Virginia, Maryland, DC, and Pennsylvania. She's responsible for cleaning 2 of the stadiums here in Baltimore and has 200 employees, 201 if you count me through the campaign. And they have done everything to make this woman fail. Aramat Corporation owes her a minimum of $85,000 to $100,000. They've been cheating her on her contracts. But the sister won't give up. She has been an activist for 30 years on every imaginable issue that afflicts Blacks in Baltimore. She's a lot like me. People from DC come to Baltimore for opportunities because the town is wide open. It's a different blend.
Right.
And she has 2 sons, one of them who's a filmmaker. The other son, I know he's working, I think, in local government. And she's tired of the situation here. You know, I've been camping out in her business office, staying here for about a month. And it's not fancy. I sleep on the couch and we work.
Right.
And she took a video, a joke video, because I threw out some pizza boxes that we had. And I swear to you, a rat the size of an NFL football jumped out on me, and she caught that on film. And that's just, there's a rat nest about 40 feet from the door I'm standing at right now. And everybody knows that there are rats everywhere. Across the street from her office is Holland's house. It's a house full of Black folks who are older or with bad health problems on drugs. Every so many hours, there'll be an ambulance to take someone to die or take someone to the emergency room. I mean, the block that I'm on, the next block is mostly bombed out. I can send you pictures if you don't believe me. So you can see the decay here. And we're no more than, say, a mile and a half from downtown Baltimore. The further you get from downtown, the more run down certain areas are. And she was a person that's been fighting against predatory lending, lead poisoning, inferior schools. She was working with getting youth to exercise so they wouldn't be overweight. You name it, this lady's been doing it. She fought against home foreclosures as a loan officer. And she has one of the very first green janitorial services here in the city of Baltimore called R&E Green Janitorial Cleaning Service.
Wow. And
she's phenomenal. And I met her through my partner from East St. Louis, who's known her. And she's a philanthropist. She was funding programs for youth in Baltimore and D.C. That's the kind of woman she is.
That's awesome.
And when I talked to her, man, I felt like I was listening to Fannie Lou Hamer and Ella Baker and all the other fighter Black women I've ever seen or read about. And it just blew my mind. And I told my friend from Missouri, DeLon, or from Illinois, you know, it's almost the same.
Yeah.
DeLon from ESL, that this woman's a politician. This lady's powerful. What I did not know, she had run for office in 2006. She should have won the city council seat. And they split her vote between three councilmanic districts, so she'd lose. So I think the straw that broke her back was when Donald Trump started talking about how jacked up Baltimore is, and lying ass Elijah Cummings came in and said the little fake stuff he did. It made a lot of people in Baltimore angry, you know. What a lot of people don't know is when Elijah Cummings ran last year in 2018, he got almost 150,000 fewer votes than what he had gotten the last time he ran.
Wow.
Let me repeat that, 150,000 fewer.
Too bad you got
that's a lot.
Win.
That's a lot of people that didn't want to vote for you.
Exactly.
People who voted for you last time, more people didn't vote for him this time than who voted for him. 150,000 didn't vote for him. 90,000 voted for him. What does that say? Says the people sick of him.
Yes, we're waking up.
So when he started talking back to Trump, people know Trump's got problems. You can see that from his hair. But it doesn't mean he's lying about the killing. You know, just yesterday, the night before last night, there was a road rage incident. This man got out of a car and shot into another car and shot a 2-year-old baby.
Oh.
You know, people do road. I mean, it's crazy here because there's lead, manganese, and aluminum and other things, fluoride in the water that's messing up the people's health. It's making people crazy. And on top of that, you've got easily 70,000 drug addicts in a city of 650,000.
That's almost like 10%. No, well,
it's over 10%.
Yeah.
And they're everywhere. They're homeless people, and it's worse now. And what does the city do? The city, they put the people on methadone.
Yeah.
Methadone don't help you. Methadone destroys you.
Yes.
Methadone doesn't get you off heroin.
It continues your addiction.
Exactly. So you have a city that engages in addiction maintenance instead of ending addiction. This is why it's bad. The city did this. They've been destroying the black people here. And the people that know about it, like Reba, they're tired. She's so angry. She switched over to the Republican Party. And don't get it twisted. She's not a coon. She don't hate black people. She loves black people. She tried. A lot of people, they tried to do it through the Democratic Party. They tried. They tried to stand up because they didn't want to hear, oh, you're a Republican, and then black folks shut you off. Some people have tried, and they couldn't get through. You have to understand that. Little crooked Elijah Cummings, his wife, she runs the Democratic Party in the state of Maryland. So how can you run against a man when his wife runs the party? How's that going to work out for you?
Not very well.
So when people trip when they hear she's run as a Republican, what choice did we have?
None. I mean, I guess you could went with the candidate.
See you doing stuff. We want understanding, but we don't extend it to one another. You may see someone do something that you don't necessarily like or understand, but before you judge them, ask yourself, why would someone that's been in the community 30 years do something like that unless they had a reason or something drove them to do that? It's like a woman. I may not like folks hoeing, but if they've got to feed kids and they can't get any money, as much as I don't like it, what am I going to tell them if I can't feed them myself?
Wow.
And I don't want that. Trust me, I would hate it. I'd be against it. I would try to find something to help them. But you know what? A lot of folks have had to do things that they didn't want to do to get an outcome that they needed.
Yes, unfortunately. So true.
It's called strategy. It's called strategy. I wish there was a Martin Luther King, Malcolm X political party. I may not be doing what I'm doing right now, but I don't see a way to get that.
No.
I would like that. I wouldn't even care if my candidate lost every time. It'd be our party.
Right.
Like folks support a sports team that never wins. It's their team. You don't care if they win. It's yours.
Right.
It's the home team. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I'm coming from. So back to Reba. She launched her campaign. She's a wonderful sister. She loves children. She's like the mother that everybody has. I was just on Morgan State campus yesterday with her, and all the men knew her, not because she's easy, but because she's popular. She's the kind of black woman that loves black men. You know, you don't meet many of them like that. They make you feel good just talking to them, being around them, you know. Yes, that's how she is. And so when you meet someone like that, they need your help. You know, I had to leave my mom, who needs me, who I look after, to come up here and it'll probably be like back and forth between DC, but it's worth it. You know, this Baltimore is very important. It's the most important predominantly black town on the East Coast. It's the last predominantly major black city with over 500,000 people on the East Coast.
Wow.
It's on the dividing line between North and South, and it's the starting entry point as the nation's third busiest port for imports, going all the way to St. Louis. That's how it's connected. Baltimore, the B&O Railroad linked Baltimore to St. Louis.
Wow. And we all know about all the commerce coming up the Mississippi River and how Memphis sends all that up.
Absolutely. Baltimore is the heart of black people on the East Coast. Baltimore is the first major free black center in America. Prior to the end of the Civil War, Baltimore had the largest free black population in America, and it had the largest black population of any city in America, only to be superseded by its sister city, D.C. And we need to remember that Baltimore is the only city, with the exception of Ferguson, in the last 20 years where black folk have pushed back against the cops in a real meaningful way.
Now, can we talk about that? Because we know that mainstream media will not discuss the going on insurrection in Washington, D.C. and in Baltimore. But before you say that, I want to give you a comment from Brother Kent. I live in Columbia, Maryland. Tell Dr. Short I will send him a donation or even meet up with him to give him some money. That's a blessing. Thank you, Brother Kent.
Tell them do both, because Columbia is in the 7th Congressional District. Tell them we need some volunteers. We want to turn it out. Reba can get there. We can get rid of Elijah Cummings. He's got to go. $16 billion the government gave to Baltimore to help the poor people, and it's all missing. Where's our money at?
Yes.
Somebody needs to ask him, Cummings, where's our money? Why are there homeless people? Why is Baltimore food desert? You can drive for miles and not see a grocery store. There's stores all up and down owned by other people. You know how much they want for some beans, a can of beans?
How much?
$2.
$2 for
I'm talking about a 10-ounce can of beans. Can of soup, $3.
Oh my God.
People, you almost have to sell those to afford the prices of these little stores that they got.
Wow.
There's no fresh fruit. There's no vegetables. There's nothing in these places. And the police are corrupt here. The police murder people and they put guns on them.
Yes.
And there was a detective who tried to tell the truth. They assassinated him. They still don't know who it is. And yet they know who was on the group that went with them. Shot this man down like a dog. And nobody knows who did it.
Well, Brother Dick Gregory warned us about Baltimore. He said that place is where you send people to get killed. You don't like somebody, you send them to Baltimore, and the cops will kill you. Will kill that individual.
The cops are with the mafia. Let me just tell you, because this man told me that black people aren't afraid to die, but they're afraid to kill. That's not true. That's not true. Baltimore is the home of black folks not being afraid to kill. I need to remind people, Henry Highland Gannett was in Baltimore. He was the first black person to start telling black folks, get guns, and if necessary, shoot to kill people if they threaten your freedom. Not true here. The black people in Baltimore have been fighting longer than any large-scale urban black community in this country. And that's why they want to crack this nut. The black people around Baltimore have been fighting since the 1700s, okay? Let me just say this to you. Education for black people, before you even had black colleges, you had this thing set up 190 years ago called the Oblate Sisters of Providence. I know a little bit about them because people in my family 200 years ago were connected to it therein, 190 years ago. And the Oblate Sisters of Providence established the first high schools for blacks in America here in Baltimore. Black folks in Baltimore had the right to vote before the Civil War.
Wow. Did they have the right to land ownership and all that good stuff as well?
My great-grandfather has a will. I can send you a copy of the photo where a man from the Matthews family sold him land for $10 in 1923. It was land that belonged to my great-grandfather's great-great-grandfather that they bought, meaning that my grandfather's great-great-grandfather was a landholder prior to 1800.
There it is.
There are black people that have owned. There's been poverty and all, but the black folks here had businesses. You had a Black Wall Street in Baltimore. You had the Afro-American newspaper, the largest newspaper chain for blacks in the country. You had Park Sausages. You heard of Park Sausages? It's a black company.
Is it still in existence?
They couldn't say they were black. I don't know if it's still in existence, but it was around for a long time, for 50, 60 years.
Wow.
People in Baltimore were the first ones to destroy a Democratic Party machine in the 1930s when this racist governor, Ritchie, he found it difficult to stop white people from lynching black folks on courthouse lawns in Eastern Shore, Maryland. Imagine that. You can't stop people from lynching folks at a place of law.
Wow.
So the blacks in Maryland turned him out. See, the blacks in Baltimore had the first black political party established in the 1870s. That's almost 150 years ago. Black folks in Baltimore were trying to get free of the Republicans and the Democrats. Wow. Do you know that there were black developers and builders that were systematically gentrifying Baltimore to make it more black? Shipping people up from South Carolina and North Carolina and putting them in housing development so blacks could have a critical mass. No one has ever done that in the history of this country. And the black people here around Maryland, a lot of them are well educated. They intergenerational college education. And this is why there's such repression here. The same people who assassinated Abraham Lincoln. Remember John Wilkes Booth?
Yes, the actor.
He used to hang out not in Virginia. He hung out in Maryland. Don't sleep on it.
Wow.
John Wilkes Booth met at Mary Surratt's house in Surrattsville, Maryland. It's named for the family of people that had Abraham Lincoln murdered because he was going to give black people the right to vote. By the way, the current Senate president of Maryland is the great-grandson of Mary Surratt, a neo-segregationist, neo-Dixiecrat by the name of Thomas B. Mike Miller. He's been Maryland Senate president since 1986, the longest-serving Senate president in the history of this country.
And he's a neo-Confederate.
And that's why black people can't get anything in Baltimore, because of this Mike Miller who controls all the coon black Democrat politicians. Mike Miller is the one that when Baltimore needed 16 schools, he said no, and instead they built more jails.
Wow.
When Freddie Gray, my cousin, was murdered by the cops, Mike Miller tried to move the trial to Eastern Shore, Maryland. I keep saying Eastern Shore, you need to understand what it is. You're in Missouri. You know how the Boot Heel, how they kick black people in the ass in Missouri in the Boot Heel?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Eastern Shore, Maryland is worse than the Boot Heel.
It's worse.
Eastern Shore, Maryland is like Mississippi and the Delta. It's worse. Okay? We don't even go over there. I have a friend. You can go look it up. You can go to YouTube and pull up Ocean City police brutality. And you'll see a 320-pound policeman dive on top of my friend Alima's daughter, who's 8 months pregnant, trying to crush the baby inside of her.
Oh, God, no.
That happened on Eastern Shore. That's just 3 years ago.
Hold on, I'm punching that up. Police
They
brutality.
just started beating up some black folks at the beach. This is the stuff that happens at Eastern Shore.
Do you
and
mind
a lot
if
of black people there?
Do you mind if I play this
You
video?
want me to find it?
No, I got it.
Yeah, you can play it.
I want to play it. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I want these people to get a
Some
sense.
Ocean City arrests are sparking controversy tonight after a confrontation between beachgoers and police was all caught on camera.
That's right. It's video here you can see. And you see this officer pushing a pregnant woman down to the ground. Hours later, she had an emergency C-section.
Wow.
Jeff Goldberg talked to the police and the Woodbridge men involved in this confrontation. He's in our newsroom now to tell us the story about what happened there. Jeff?
Well, Leon, this happened at 2:30 Sunday afternoon. The beach packed at North Division Street in Ocean City. A group of nearly 30 people say they had just gotten to the beach when they were harassed and assaulted, but police have a very different perspective about what happened.
I bet they do.
The video picks up with loud protests, Ocean City officers quietly standing by. It's at this point, according to police, that
I'm sorry to stop this, but this news outfit here is totally pandering to the cops, calling these people protesters.
Say of Garrisonville, Maryland, and 21-year-old Saidu Carbo of Woodbridge.
All right, I've seen enough. I'm losing it. I can't sit there and watch them beat up
They didn't tell the full truth.
They didn't.
They not only tried to kill the baby inside of her, they left her to sit in her own urine for 6 hours in a prison cell on the floor. And only after she begged for hours did they take her to the doctor. Had they delayed much longer, she and the baby would have died.
Oh my God. And we allow, no one gets upset. No one cares, oh, well, they should have been out there running their mouths.
Oh, it gets worse. The cops came and raided the house with guns, kicked the door in, and dragged her off to jail from her house in Virginia. What they wanted from these people is to say that they had resisted arrest and that they had violated the law. And when they said, look, we didn't do anything, the police came down hard on all of them. They're trying to put them in jail for 10 years.
Wow. Isn't that ironic? 10 years for getting your ass beat by cops or 10 years for shooting an unarmed black man in his house.
Well, that's going to be appealed. They just filed the appeal for it. Now, what I want to share with you, brother, is this. I told the mother, I gave her prophecy telling her, don't let your children go to Ocean City. The mother went to Howard with me. She's from Sierra Leone. And, I tell you how Africans and foreign blacks from other places treat black Americans like they're stupid.
Yeah.
And that we're excuse makers about racism, that we're dirty and dumb, and we just don't try hard enough. Alima, the mother of the girl that you saw, and the grandmother of the baby. Oh, by the way, I want to say to you, the doctor that did the C-section on her is guilty of malpractice. He deliberately didn't sew her up properly so she could bleed to death.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
It just gets worse, doctor. It just gets worse.
When people tell me I'm militant or that I'm radical, I'm really not. I mean, I think I'm handling this very, very rationally, too rationally. Now, what I want to say to you is I've tweeted with the mother, don't go to Ocean City. You don't know, you Africans don't know those people. And she dismissed me. And I says, well, you'll have to call for my help later. Well, she called to tell me, you're all right. Of course I was right. That you need to almost lose your daughter and grandbaby over some non-ADOS pride that you got.
You know what, people, I want to point this out. Just like Mark from Anaheim, Dr. Short has the ability, and I think it's because he, at a young age, almost died, which so did Mark, but he has the ability to see the future. Now, you can call him prophet, whatever, but that's his gift. I just want people to know that about you, doctor.
No, I told her, and she had to come back and ask for help. And I told her also, your African friends aren't going to help you.
Nope.
and they didn't because they don't want to go back.
Explain that,
Now,
Doctor,
they beat it,
how
but
people want to get into this country from Kemet or Africa.
No, look, America, off of the work that our ancestors did, they made this country out of a wilderness one of the best places to live in the world.
There it is.
That's a fact. And not to knock Africa, because I like Africa. In fact, I always dream about going, visiting. I love the people I know there, the for real one. But most Africans I know are miserable. And I have lots of African friends, and I constantly get emails and requests for help to get out. One of the reasons being that the same way you got coons here,
yep,
you got tropical and equatorial and savanna coons there.
Savannah coons.
And jungle, tropical woodland coons, right? Steppe coons, desert coons, right?
Right.
Rift Valley coons. Okay, just every kind of coon on the continent. And they don't like each other. They don't help each other. They fight against each other. It's rough. And for all the little nasty things that people will tell you about the very troubled African-American community, you know what? Let me tell you something. Maybe 22 years ago, they had elections in Kenya. Do you know how many people died during the elections?
No.
Try maybe 20 to 30,000 people.
Oh, my Lord.
And that's just in Kenya. Now, do you know that you'll almost never hear of instances of Black Americans killing people from Africa?
No,
it doesn't happen. It almost doesn't happen, which means an African is safer here than they are back in Africa for we, the bastard mulatto offspring of enslaved people, jacked up though we may be, are less lethal to Africans than Africans are to themselves where they came from. Do you know in South Africa, they may have 40,000 murders in a year, meaning that South Africans kill each other 8 times the number of Blacks in America?
Wow. Wow, these numbers don't lie.
As jacked up as we are, and we got problems.
Yes, we do.
We kill too much. We hate too much. We drug too much. Even in this, with no language, no history, no culture, the fount, the touchstone, the watershed of Black awareness and consciousness is not in Africa, it's here. In fact, Baltimore is one of the founts of Black freedom. Baltimore is the southern junction of the Underground Railroad. Are you feeling me?
Yes.
I need to give a tip of my hat to the Black people of Baltimore back in 1919. But starting in 1917, Black people in Baltimore shipped guns down to Blacks in Washington, D.C. to protect themselves from the police. So when we had a race riot that the white folks wanted to go like what happened in East St. Louis,
yes,
it failed in D.C. For every Black person laying face down, there were 3 or 4 whites. They never tried it again. Thank you, Baltimore. I didn't forget Baltimore. I tell you, I'm on West Baltimore Street, and just to share with you how ancestry goes, I'm on the 1000 block of West Baltimore Street, and my family used to live 150 to 170 years ago, just 8 blocks away.
Complete circle.
Yeah, isn't that incredible? I did not know this until I already started working out of this office.
That's amazing. I mean, the work that you do.
It is amazing.
The history. I mean, you're quite literally a living, breathing history book. You got knowledge from all over the world, not just American knowledge. You know knowledge of the Middle East and Europe and all of it. You're truly wise.
Well, some of that comes from Baltimore. I think I told you my grandfather's great-grandmother was sold from the port of Baltimore. She's in the slave manifest in 1845, and she was shipped to New Orleans because she could pass for white, which you know what that means.
Yes. Leisure time.
Yeah, a lot of leisure. Well, for the other person, especially if they got there first and fell asleep. You know, a slave couldn't ask, well, I want to have an orgasm too. They get whipped. So anyway, let me tell you, my grandfather's great-grandfather went to California in the gold rush and must have got some gold because he got his woman back.
Wow.
From New Orleans to Baltimore, and they moved to this street. Imagine that.
Wow. You had to go.
That's a hell of a love story.
That is.
He
That should
went
be a
all
movie.
the way from Baltimore. Yeah, there could be a movie. And the other thing I have to say, just so folks will know, this is not an anti-white thing. My great-great-great-grandfather was named for the founder of the Maryland militia by the name of Nicholas Gastaway, who founded the Maryland militia in 1651.
Wow.
And they owned slaves. But at some point, some of the people in the family became abolitionist Quakers. And I'm convinced that some of these people, because there's some good white folk, thank God for them. They're not enough. There's like two of them. I'm teasing. Some of them say, that's right? Okay, but there's some good white people. And I'm convinced that the white folks helped him get that woman out of New Orleans and back to Baltimore.
Yeah.
I would not be here today had there not been some good white folks back when it was legal to own black people that went against the grain. And when I think about the fact that I have white ancestors who went from owning slaves to fighting against slavery, it just makes me hate coons all the more. It just makes me angry. Why can't a black person care today when white folks could go from being slaveholders to wanting to end slavery, as well as treat black folks right, and coons are trying to kill us off with abortion and LGBTQ,
right,
and vaccinations and all this stuff. No, I'm angry with coons.
Well, but coons represent the ultimate selfishness, right? I'm going to get mine, doctor, at the expense of you and your children and your brothers and your sisters and your mom and dad. I'm going to get mine.
And I'm going to look good. And I'm going to look like a leader.
Right.
The John Lewis coon, the Elijah Cummings coon, the Maxine Waters coon. In fact, you know my joke, right? Did I tell you?
No. Hit me with it.
Peppy the Frog has a sister, and they don't get along. Do you know who it is?
Who?
Maxine Waters. She does look like Peppy the Frog with the wig on. She does. She does. She does. She looks like Peppy the Frog.
Oh, no.
She does.
If I had a picture of her and the frog, I would pull it up. I don't want no YouTube trouble. Hold on.
No, you have to put.
Yeah, I'll pull it up. Let me pull it up.
And just imagine with the wig on, and it would look like Maxine Waters. A cartoon version, like if Maxine Waters was on The Simpsons, she would look like Peppy the Frog with the wig on.
Hold on. We got Maxine Waters' image right here. All right, wait. This is not a flattering picture of her. Okay, now I'm gonna pull up Peppy the Frog. Hold on. Oh my God, Peppy the Frog. And now we pull up Peppy.
According.
Now.
She does look like Peppy the Frog. She does too. There's a family resemblance. And that's probably why she hangs around Hillary, because there's always flies around her. She can get some free food.
Oh. I mean, I was really actually hoping to try to get her on the show because I like to have people from all sides. But if she hears this broadcast, I doubt very seriously where she would pay homage to the show. But yeah, she has cause of let's look at her policy. Is she pro-abortion, doctor?
But it's deeper than that. Maxine Waters and John Lewis opposed Donald Trump's criminal justice reform, yet they were the champion. They were the his and her face, the his and her blackface, the his and her minstrels for the mass incarceration Biden bill. Let your ass go look it up and find out I told you the truth.
Hold on. Hold on.
Yes, there was. I worked in the media. I worked in news media. Maxine Waters and them were all going around calling for these sentences to lock up the people on crack. Maxine Waters did this, and so did John Lewis. John Lewis from Atlanta, Georgia.
Supported the what was that? The 1980 1999 or
1994.
1994
Omnibus Crime Bill, the Biden bill. Pull that thing up and embarrass those coons.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now.
Back.
Right now. HR 3550, violent crime bill, sponsored. Hold on, let me make sure. Okay. Clinton, Maxine Waters. Hold on, I want to get to one. Sponsored legislation. This is from the Library of Congress. Sponsored legislation. But that might not show if they support it. I'm going to just show the gobbledygook that they threw up. Now, U.S. government track the violent crime bill.
You want me to do something for you? Because I know John Lewis was the one who ushered the crime bill through Congress.
Hold on. Here's a list of them. Representatives, where we can go. John Lewis right here. Hold on. I want to have everybody see this. These are the people who support it. John Lewis is right here. And let's go down. I'm sure we're going to find Waters. Hold on. Maybe on this other list here, too. So John Lewis voted. Wait.
He didn't just vote. He's the House whip. He got other people to support it.
Oh, these are okay. I was looking at the wrong thing. So Maxine Waters should be in this lot. There she is. And that's saying no as well. Hold on. This might be on something totally different. Yes, I will need for you to send me that, brother. I need for you to send me that.
Hold on. I'll send that. Let me send it to you by email.
All right.
You going to be checking your email account?
Yeah, I can check my email account.
Because, no, I'm going to expose her. You know, Maxine Waters, she should stop. She should get out of public life just so she can get some help with her wrinkles. I mean, she's got more faults than California in her face. I mean, it's just awful.
Yeah.
Go to a beauty spot somewhere and get lost.
Get lost. And don't come back out. Oh, hold on. Here's now this will show you sponsored all the bills she sponsored. Oversight from Justice Act 2017, freezing Russian sanction. Stop AIDS in Prison Act. Well, if you quit sending brothers and sisters to prison, you don't have to stop nothing in prison. Man, I can't believe she's a lot mandatory minimum reform act of 2015. She has a lot of stuff she's had her hands in. These are all the bills she sponsored. Holding individuals accountable and determining money laundering act. Wow. Major drug trafficking, missing Alzheimer's patients. FCC merge
now she's
act.
got some stuff, but here we go.
This is unsettling. Our leaders who's supposed to have our backs, who's supposed to have our best interests, who's supposed to want our families to prosper. And the only thing that they're trying to get is more money out of the pork barrel for themselves.
Or for other people that hate our guts.
Yeah. This is quite sad, man. I'm just looking at some of the headlines. You know, she's really big on AIDS in prison.
That's because she's sending everybody to be up in there.
Mm-hmm. Child abuse reporting, grant options, equality in education, torture prevention, and oh my God.
She voted for further militarization of the police back in 2015 when Ferguson was on fire. That woman,
That's something that everybody can relate to. You know, you have people out here trying to get justice, and she's setting them up for failure. Oh, there you go. Okay. All right. Hold on. Hold on. I don't need this. I'm doing a show, baby. I don't need this bag of toys. Here. Can you go in there with your sister now? Here you go. Here it is. Oh, my God. Trying to negotiate with a 2-year-old is impossible, yeah.
I got trapped.
So what could the people in California really do? Because obviously they elected her. They elected her over and over and over again. Is it a case where outside money is just, you know, putting her up too much, or? And this is and her attorney. And there she is with Bill Clinton.
Mm-hmm. He's probably the only person that's not afraid to touch her.
I can't believe this, man. All kinds of pictures of her getting held and hugged by old rich, basically white men.
Well, I mean, in the words of Donna Summer, she works hard for the money.
She works hard for the money. Oh my God, yeah, this one right here. Oh, that's not a turtleneck, yeah. That's actually wrinkles on old girl's neck. That's wow. Well, you know, if she's brave enough to come on the show, I would welcome her. Like to kind of ask her a couple of questions and get a sense of her point of view. But we all know that ain't gonna happen. So, you know, as soon as one of her goons watch one of my past episodes of the show, they'll be like, no, you're not going on that dude's show. You'll make
all you have to do is tell them that you got a dragonfly roundup.
That tongue will get to flickering. Now, her and Nancy Pelosi, picture of Nancy Pelosi popped up. Now, I had a past guest that was talking, and they basically said that Pelosi's basically a mob chick. She's basically, that's what her
she is.
That's
from Baltimore.
Oh, she's from Baltimore.
She's from Baltimore. Yeah,
wow.
Nancy Pelosi from Baltimore. Her father's a crime boss from Baltimore. Respect.
Wow.
And so is Hillary Clinton's grandfather's a crime boss.
Wow. So there's the fix.
Yeah, Thomas D'Alessandro was connected to the mob. They're the ones that help all the dope come in. for black people. They're connected to the mobs and the Jewish mafia that brought the dope into Baltimore. The druggies I see across the street are the heirs of Nancy Pelosi's father's dirty work.
Wow. So
and I want to say something else while I'm at it. Her brother, Thomas D'Alessandro III, they destroyed a group of black folk in Baltimore. I was saying it earlier on the phone and didn't finish it. It's called the you got a lot of blur on your phone. Do you hear it?
No, actually, you're coming in loud and clear, which is unusual.
Okay, it sounds blurred to mine, but that's okay. Look, let me tell you, there's an echo.
Okay. Well, we don't hear one over here.
What's going on is that I said that in Baltimore, it's the first place where black folks weren't afraid to kill. And I want to say that for two reasons. My grandfather's great uncles, who all served in the Civil War, I had about 5 or 6 men in my family, if not more, that served in the Civil War. They left Montgomery County and they all moved to Baltimore. And there was a large number of black men from Baltimore that served in the Civil War, a huge number, meaning that in Baltimore, there's a history of black folk being willing to kill for what they believed in.
Mm.
Now, I said that, then I'm going to do something and go from the Civil War to the post-civil rights movement. One of the greatest unsung group of black activists in the history of this country is from the city of Baltimore that nobody honors or talks about, and I'll keep talking about it till I drop dead. It's called Black October. These were black men and women that were activists, that were assassinating pushers who were bringing dangerous drugs into the black community.
They were protecting
and
their
Nancy Pelosi's brother, the Boule, the NAACP, the blacks in the Democratic Party, the mafia, the police, and the FBI all got together to kill off these black people that want to stop the flow of drugs coming in through the Jewish gangs and to Baltimore.
Wow.
So when I talk about the number of addicts in Baltimore, I'm not going to even judge the people out here in the streets. This was engineered, and it was partially engineered by sellout black people, as also engineered by the family of Nancy Pelosi.
Wow.
And that's why Nancy Pelosi won't do a goddamn thing for Baltimore. She never brings it up because if you touch Baltimore, you will find out her brother Roosevelt D'Alessandro and 14 other men, possibly. They raped 2 girls. I don't know if they were white or black, but they may have been black. They gang raped 14 girls and obstructed justice and got off.
What?
That means Nancy Pelosi was an accessory, as was her brother and her father, to getting her other brother off for raping girls, underage girls. Her brother's a pedophile. Now she's pushing the Equality Act for pedophilia and all this filth.
Mm.
She's dirty, dirtier than an elephant's ass with diarrhea.
You was the one who brought up the Equality Act to me and what it really meant. I mean, on face value, just like the Federal Reserve, you think it's federal, but it's not. The Equality Act is for them to attack our children. It's for them to get the perverts.
Equality is that I have the right to put my finger in your child's behind as much as you have the right to wash your child's behind.
Wow.
Oh, let's do better. I got another one to tell you about. And for the brother that wants to send me a piece, I'm going to need it because I'm going to get in a lot of trouble. I'll never be able to get a job in D.C. if I should need to work there because I'll be testifying this Thursday, October 17th at 10 a.m. in the John A. Wilson District Building against the Community Safety and Health Amendment Act. This is an act that would legalize or decriminalize child prostitution, prostitution, brothel owning, pimping, and the purchase of sex in the District of Columbia.
What? I mean, come
it is,
on.
Yeah, let me read the law number to you for all the people who think I make this stuff up and you just hate gay people. I have no idea. I think I told you about my godbrother and all these people I've seen die from AIDS. I'm still busted up over people I really cared about. I wish that they had not been in that life. I don't hate. I'm hurt. And when I hurt this much, it does make you feel hate for someone to hurt me like this, make me angry. It's called the Community Safety and Health Amendment Act. That is law or bill, which is B23-0318.
B23.
They will succeed. The ACLU, the Gay and Lesbian Activist Alliance, those no good slut lesbians and Black Lives Matter, HRC, which now has, I think his name is Alfonso David, a Liberian homosexual lawyer, is now the leader of the white homosexual sodomite movement. SWAP, Whitman Walker Clinic, and all these other people have a final solution. The black men that they can't kill off one way, if they can make us all prostitutes or whores, or make DC and other urban areas like Atlanta the course for prostitution where there are no jobs, and black men will go out and black boys will get infected and get diseased and suicidal and on drugs, and they will wipe black people out with sex like they did the Hawaiians when they wanted Hawaii. Wow. And niggas don't see it coming. And this is being brought in by a white liberal by the name of Grosso, and his ass is gross.
Yes, he's gross. But he'd be like, so?
And he has the support of the other black people on the city council. This is all happening through black Democrats. Black Democrats want our children raped. They've given our neighborhoods away, our homes, our schools, our churches. Now they want to give the rectums and scrotums of our babies
well, isn't
to
that
foreigners
their final paycheck,
for
doctor?
$1.
That's their final paycheck. They already got paid putting the dope in our communities. They already get paid putting basically killing cops.
Dope, because you need dope to do the kind of sex that people ask you for.
Well,
let's talk about this real fast. Everybody talks about Tyler Perry.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows Tyler Perry's films are not grossing billions of dollars, right?
Right.
Not billions. Millions, yes. So haven't you heard that Atlanta is the second largest film production area in America,
right,
behind Hollywood or ahead of Hollywood?
I've heard about that.
Well, what films are they making that's making so much money?
Like the little, like hood movies.
No, I'm going to tell you, black gay porn is the biggest seller out of Atlanta. And the blacks aren't even making money. They're giving in the content and the cum and the buttholes being split and folks. That's where the money's made. Come on. Look, Hollywood makes $13 billion a year. Do you know how much porn makes?
How much?
45.
Holy crap. There's a lot of money in that.
Black
garbage.
Porn is outgrossing Tyler Perry. Gay porn in particular. That's what's selling in Atlanta.
So you mean, okay, hold on, let's break this shit down. So there's basically, that the majority of the consumers in this country are white. So you got white men watching black men get sodomized.
White folks who like seeing black men effeminize, black men either having sex with white men or each other.
That's, excuse my French, but fuck.
Or with white women, but at the same time, if you're a white guy and you've seen a black dude slapping a woman in the eye with the penis, you may shoot them when you stop them as a law enforcement officer.
Yes, they do. They get
if you look at the reports and stuff, it's awful the way that black folks are described. It's the most racist stuff that's not censored on the net. It's what I call queer crow. White fag racism against black men.
Yeah.
Even if they're gay, even when they have the white guy's penis in his mouth, pleasuring him, he's still a nigger, he's a subhuman. Black gays are liars, they're frauds, they're chumps. They get used. And you know what? In DC, and it's probably true in Baltimore too, but in DC, they have an Office on African American Affairs that has a total of 2 employees.
What?
The Office on Gay Affairs probably has 50 to 100 people. Did you think that the gays would just take 2 people if blacks had 100?
No.
So, when the AIDS money and the resources come in for the gays and the business loans, they don't go to the black gays. They don't get anything. The only way that black gays tend to get money is being white men's
Pets.
crotch candy.
Mm.
It's despicable.
It is despicable.
It's despicable. I mean, I don't mind. I hope I'm upset and making a whole bunch of black chumps mad. Y'all don't got no money. Y'all don't got no business. Y'all don't got no power.
Mm.
And when the white guy wants someone with a tighter bubble butt, out you go and in comes a new.
Mm.
And when they can have sex with little black boys that they don't have to do as much for, they won't have a need for a whole bunch of these black tricks out here. It's going to be really incredible. Let me tell you something. A lot of black gay men get killed and black prostitutes get killed. Don't you think the same Nazi that hates blacks wouldn't kill a black streetwalker, wouldn't kill a black tranny?
Mm.
And who would know? Who would care?
Exactly.
And a lot of these missing black folks in the sex business, they end up dead.
Right.
Often at the hands of white law enforcement officers or white racists. And at the same time, these same black gays will attack a black pastor that doesn't want trannies coming to church just like women.
Right.
Yeah. Remember they went after that pastor in Chicago? He didn't ask for much. He didn't.
Mm.
So I keep, yes, I'm gay shaming black gays for demanding that there be no standards, no morality in the black community if they don't get their way. But when they're murdered by Ed Buck or law enforcement officers, or when they don't get AIDS money, or when white clubs and white gay institutions have codes to let blacks know they're not welcome, these niggas won't even go and file a civil rights claim against their own white homosexual allies.
Because they're more gay than
because
anything.
They're frauds, they're cowards, they're liars. They only want to penalize straight black society.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have any fight for their own lives.
The spirits tell me to say this. Brothers and sisters, all you guys out there, who are young, you're not married, you're just out there bouncing around. Please, sincerely remember this, brothers and sisters. One, you lay around with a bunch of people, you lose self-respect and dignity. Because sex is one of the most intimate things a human being can kind of engage in. And two, there's still AIDS and other diseases that are not curable. Now, they're treatable if you have enough cash. But if you don't have the cash...
They're not always treatable, brother. They're not always treatable, brother. You can have $1 billion if you get that aggressive anal cancer that's 100 times more likely to be in homosexual men than in any other group of people. That thing that kills in a year or two, when that thing's up your behind, nothing can get it out. And if it doesn't kill you, the chemo will. Okay.
And there goes your money.
May feel good. It may feel good, but it isn't right to do. And there's a consequence for it. The number one killer of black men in terms of STDs in DC is septicemia. That comes from the black men having large things stuck in their rectum and bowel movement and spermicide and other things getting into the bloodstream and killing them.
Oh, God.
They need to tell folks that black men in Chicago and Atlanta are dying in greater numbers from septicemia than AIDS.
Oh, my God.
So you can have the retrovirals to keep the AIDS from bothering you, but it can't save you from the septicemia. And while we're at it, because I'm going to keep educating these folks, there's the thing I told you about called I call it the gay birth control pill. It's the prophylaxis, the Prep P and Prep H they're so proud of. And they didn't tell people that the Truvada and the other PrEP drugs were actually not that good, but because they wanted to make the money selling it, they sold defective drugs that would destroy the internal organs of our gay and lesbian folks that were using Truvada.
What is that
and
used
now
for?
There are tens of thousands of people who've been poisoned and their health has been ruined, taking a drug that was supposed to protect them from HIV and AIDS, but they didn't tell them that it would destroy other aspects of your health.
Wow.
So if in fact you mess up your kidney or your liver,
you're done.
You're going to die from something anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Now let's move on. Truvada, when it first came out in 2014, 2015, everybody was celebrating the fact that you almost couldn't get AIDS at all, HIV/AIDS at all, if you took Truvada. But if you read the fine print, it was up to 96% effective and preventing the transmission of HIV and AIDS. However, if it's up to 96%, if you have sex with 200 people, that means that you could have gotten AIDS eight times if it was people who had a strain of AIDS that particular prophylaxis didn't combat. Are you understanding me?
Yes.
Now, recently, when I read up on this drug, they said it's up to 90% effective. So it dropped 6%. Do you know what that says to me, brother?
What?
That there's a new mutation of HIV and other things that this prophylaxis doesn't stop. And the effectiveness of this prophylaxis is rapidly going away. However, after they spend all this money in advertising to get you to take Truvada and other things, do you think when it's 50% effective that they're going to tell you that it is? No.
No, they're not.
They're going to keep selling it as long as they can sell it to get keep their shareholders and everybody happy, meaning that there are lots of people who think that they're taking the gay birth control pill, that they'll be safe from HIV and AIDS, and in fact, they'll get it. And not only will they get it, they will get a strain stronger than what existed 5 years ago. You see, because now with Truvada and these other things, people are having more sex because there's less fear of getting HIV.
Yes.
What does the bacteria and the virus do? It mutates.
All the time.
Meaning that there becomes a strain that the prophylaxis and the drug can't treat.
Will have no effect.
Now let's return to something I mentioned to you before. Since Truvada came along, I guess to celebrate, there's a new sex ritual that's been around about the same time as Truvada called chemsex.
Yes, we talked about that last time.
I think I told you about this, right? Mm-hmm. Where you take the crystal meth, you take ketamine, you have poppers, you've got methadone, you've got GBH. It's a kind of hormone or steroid. And you take this and it allows you to have sex for almost a week nonstop.
Disgusting.
And all over Europe, the rates of AIDS are going up in the hundreds of percent. Now, let me add that to say to you, within the last week or so, the CDC has released a report that for the fourth consecutive year, all STD transmissions have been at an all-time high in the United States.
What are you saying, doctor? Tell people plainly what you just said.
What I'm saying is that we're due for a plague, a die-off.
There it is.
We're due for something to come along that just kills large numbers of people, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. And they are using the little fags in the hip-hop business, Old Country, Brokeback Road, #1 song for the year, and all of this stuff to get people to have this dangerous anal, oral, reckless sex. And you know what? Trust me, if Donald Trump wins again, do you think that Obamacare is going to be like it was before?
No.
I don't think so. So who's going to pay the medical expenses for all of these black folks who just you can't tell them. I remember taking my cousin to church. I wanted someone to pray for him because I didn't want him to die from AIDS. And I remember him shoving me, get off of me. I was like, wow, like it's my life, right?
Suicidal.
That's the last time I saw him in person living. But it was rejecting me. I didn't reject him with his AIDS. I want you to know that. He rejected me who didn't want him to have AIDS.
Right.
That's a rebellious, dark spirit. And that gay thing, it's deadly. And it rejects love and community and forgiveness. It's just all about, and it then becomes suicidal. I just want to get all I can.
It's about power and control.
Everybody he could. He screwed anyone, anywhere, any place, anytime. He wanted everybody to have what he had.
Oh, no.
And there are a lot of gay folk out there. They're going to exterminate. It's going to be the gays, the ones that agree with them and everything they say, that will infect them. In California, it's not against the law to deliberately give people AIDS. You know, that's legal. It's even legal in your state of Missouri. They're going to let the gay folks eliminate all the other people. And if a strain of AIDS or Hep C or something comes along, it's going to kill people in the millions. And you know what? The stupid, silly people that believe in God, that trust in the Bible, you know, who are we? We're nobody, right? We're just scum, right? How dare you? This is my body. I mean, I have a hole, as one guy told me. Mine is as good as hers, right?
No. Oh, stop it.
I've had someone tell me this. I'll tell you, his name is Michael Pound. I'll say his name. I don't care. It's true. He says, I have a hole. We have holes, too.
Oh, my God.
When I taught you, this is not based out of me not knowing people, not having friendships, relations, honest conversation. This is not a put down. This isn't me with a whole bunch of straight dudes just imagining stuff against people. Nope. This is based on going in an environment where there are huge numbers of people this way and talk to them, getting their perspective. And he says, I have a hole.
You know, I'm sorry, doctor, damn it. This is what it is. A vagina is not a hole. A vagina is quite literally a stargate to this realm. A baby comes through it. The phallus goes in it and baby comes out. That's what it's about. And no homosexual in the world can ever do that.
Well, it's a fart gate. It's a different thing. So, and so, you know, you could do it. I mean, I guess it's okay for you. It works for someone, but be honest. Be honest. And so I told folks, if you want to make money and you want to retire, invest in Depends, KY jelly, lubricants, prophylactic type drugs, preparation H. You always get your money the way this country's going.
I love your sense of humor, but it's so
and
true.
there's also, and also invest in rectal plugs. They're going to improve. A rectal plug is like a male Kotex. It's a plug you put in your behind to keep stuff from dripping out.
I've after we have had that conversation, I did do a little research, and you know, that's so sad.
And you realize I don't lie on people. This is not I hate somebody.
No,
information. This is just what it is.
Can I tell you what it truly is? It's love. You're trying to shock these people out of this wickedness, out of this decadence. You're trying to get them back to the boat. But these fools don't want to go back, Doc. Nope, they want their butt plugs and their butt love. But they get everything but love. You get me? They get everything but true love. Because true love is a man and woman coming together, making babies and providing for these babies and raising these kids to become adults. It's awfully selfish
and
just to
true
sit
love,
up here.
It's father and son and brothers. And yes, nothing wrong with brotherhood and bond. And that's a great thing. We're doing it right now. But think about it. One of the things that you do with doo-doo and reality, what's useful other than fertilizing, which means you put in the ground, is you can set it on fire. Anything else with doo-doo, and it's just not nothing. Okay, so when you put doo-doo with something, if it's not to go into the ground to fertilize, if it's not going to be burnt to make heat or natural gas, it's a dangerous substance. So why do you have it on yourself? And ask yourself, why are black men in Atlanta, where you have maybe 200,000-300,000 people with HIV or more among blacks in Georgia or more, why are these people having centipede parties where they all line up on the floor on their knees like dogs and put their mouths on each other's behinds and eat?
Yuck. I'm sorry. Yuck. That's too much. That's too much.
That's a big thing. That's a big rage in Atlanta. Make a centipede. Maybe they heard Rebe Jackson's song too many times.
That's
it's like a centipede, right?
You know, I was about ready to say, you know, when people go on these cruise ships with all their arrogance and bullshit, and they look down on the crew, and that crew's in there making their salad, right? Making those bread and butters. And the crew's not washing their hands, and they're smearing that fecal material. And then you hear about all these people getting sick on ships. It's the shit that makes people sick.
Well, remember, I mentioned that to you a long time ago.
Mm.
Oh, yes. And that's how people get sick. Look, I think I told you they've closed the Atlanta Sheraton. Did I?
No, I didn't get that story.
The Atlanta Sheraton has been closed. Well, yes. About 12 people got the deadly legionnosis, or the legionnosis virus or bacteria from the swimming pool.
No.
Legionnosis is linked to people who have HIV/AIDS. So people who had HIV/AIDS in the swimming pool infected 12 people. One of them, a black female doctor, died.
Wow.
They had to close the whole hotel. By the way, she was swimming in the pool right after Gay Pride Month.
Oh, God, no. I got stories like that, too.
When the little drag queens farted in the pool.
Or
the lady died, and after him died in the one, the fart bubble, and now she's dead now.
But like, you know how you have those water pistols, you fill up the water juice or the water gun, and you squirt it out. They're doing that with their booties.
Yes.
Suckers soaking each other.
Yes. Yes. And so all these people got Legionnaires. It's gone silent. In fact, let's go look that up, because we got to talk about this woman in Fort Worth.
Okay.
But I want to look at this Atlanta Sheraton. That's worth looking at. This actually happened. People die. This is not me kicking a person out of their apartment because they're gay, or breaking up their so-called gay marriage, or taking someone's job, or calling someone a name. This isn't what we're doing. Okay, we keep saying this because there's a spirit in the minds of a person that's into that needs to always be right, and it's very defensive because they're in the wrong. And they look for a way to say, you hate me, you did this to me, you hurt me, you lied on me, because if you're right, I'm wrong. If you're right, I need to change. So I need to make you be wrong so I can be right and get my way.
Hold on.
It's quite, and so you're constantly going through this struggle.
Atlanta Sheraton.
Who's right? But you see, it's very, very simple. Yeah, let me pull this thing up. Go and look up.
There it is, right here. I got it.
Sheraton Atlanta Hotel. Here you are.
Hold on. Legionnaire's disease outbreak. Right here. And this wasn't a million years ago either. This was August 12th, 2019. 9 million years ago, y'all. A lawsuit filed Monday alleged negligence in the operation and maintenance of water systems, causing a Legionnaire's disease outbreak at downtown Atlanta hotel that killed one person and potentially amongst who stayed at or visited the Sheraton Hotel between June 20th and July 15th. There have been 12.
That's right after Gay Pride Month.
The laboratory confirmed a Legionnaire's disease. This is sad. You know, but I love it how you said it, because it makes it personal.
I don't hate nobody, but those are people, that's a life destroyed. They weren't even in the centipede party. Shouldn't they be able to have lived?
Well, now no longer can a person sit here on the side like, oh, this don't affect me. If you swim in pools, it affects you. If you go down to the lunch counter, get something to eat, it affects you. If you grab the door handle going into certain stores, someone doesn't wipe their butt, nasty as hell. They don't do nothing but this. It's personal, y'all. This ain't hate. This is reality. And that sister would be alive today if she might have heard this show and thought about, man, maybe I shouldn't jump in this damn pool for all these nasty motherfuckers.
Yeah. Or maybe that dude that's questionable, maybe I'll pass on the stake them.
But see, that's if you're sitting here expecting these people who engage in this to change their lifestyle, you're sadly mistaken. They want you to taste the rainbow. You're gonna taste it all up in your mouth, whether you like it or not. The way we're going.
Well, I was thinking of a song by Otis Redding, and we can change it to "I've been helping you so long to stop now." they can't stop. This is an addiction. This is a sexual addiction. It's the problem, and only God can pull people out of it, and God is able. And I've seen people. In fact, what has me so angry is that these folks are against people from church and other places that are sincere at showing people a way out.
Right.
They don't want that. They call that's abuse. Do you realize that if you're a counselor in San Francisco and a kid comes to you and says, or a young man, "I'm gay and I just can't stop going to glory hole, sucking anonymous men through this hole in the wall, and it's nasty, I need to stop." If I'm a counselor in San Francisco, I can't take a side on that, not say to them, well, maybe it's how you're looking at how you're having the sex in the glory hole versus it being wrong. Because that person could be a tester from the city civil rights division to make certain that I'm not trying to do any conversion therapy.
Right.
And so what that person would do would be encouraged to tell that person, well, maybe you shouldn't let it go as far into your larynx as you did last time. Or maybe you should limit yourself. Or, they would try to show you how to keep sucking instead of stop sucking when you want to stop. Don't say stop because that's homophobic.
Wow.
They're fighting against this because they're terrified of people they're terrified of the fact that it is not immutable. Your sexuality is not immutable. It's not immutable.
You're not born with it. You learned these things.
Right. You learn it. Well, you learn how to do a centipede. You know how to eat on someone's behind. I mean, come on.
Whoever thought of that, seriously, that's a level of depravity on a different level. I mean, it's one thing.
It's in Atlanta. In Atlanta. And, Dr. King had a dream. These folks have a dream, but it's not dry.
No, it's full of cream. Cream on the face.
Yeah. Well, let it roll down like a mighty stream. I'm looking at the Atlanta General Constitution, and it's talking about a source of Legionnaires confirmed. And it looks like it has to do with shorts with no underwear on. The front figures.
Oh my God.
Okay, keep rolling.
See, even here in my little town.
The test results for Legionella bacteria in the hotel's cooling tower and in the decorative fountain in the atrium.
So it's in a fountain.
Swallowing contaminated water is how you get Legionnaires. That's really contaminated water. 13 cases, 66 probable cases. Atlanta Sheraton was cleared to reopen after an inspection of the hotel by the Fulton County Board of Health. They probably all said, open it back up. We can't afford to stay out of business. We give a lot of money to the city. So more people, watch people get this stuff again. The public health department said the entire hotel water distribution system has undergone remediation. Well, I visited the Atlanta the Atlanta Sheraton, and I did not want to get in the pool. That was back in 2008. And in the words of Andre Crouch, oh, but I'm glad, so glad I did. And I'm glad I didn't get in the pool. You know, they sing the church, take me to the water.
Yeah, don't take me to that water. Don't take me to that water.
Yeah.
This is one time I agree with segregated pool. They can have those pools. I don't want nothing. Keep my ass up out of there.
And let me tell you something. That's Legionella. There's something else in all the swimming pools. It's staph infection, staphylococcus,
yes,
which you can get out of someone's rear end, salmonella out of someone's behind. salmonella actually comes out of chickens' behind and come out of people's behind. So a person that has a leaky booty that's in the swimming pool with you can give you salmonella or or a staph infection. Then you end up being jacked up. And you know you get some of that water in your ears and your mouth or whatever when you're in the swimming pool. You can't help it. Hold on. Let me just put this in there. Staph infections. Staphylococcus aureus. Hold on 1 second. And this is what this thing is called. Hold on. Staphylococcus aureus. And I'm going to put in public pools. I'm going to do a quick search in this. By the way, I know this gets on the audience's nerves. I know.
Oh, there's so many gross symbols. They're grossed out.
Stop educating me. I want to live my own life. This is my life.
In ignorance. It'll be a very short one, but sure.
Well, some people don't want to live long. Oh, look at this. Oh, wow. Whew, Jesus, have mercy. What year is this? I'm going to look at this. 2 swimmers report staph infection. Oh, it's just a site. Did you go offline? No. Anyway, let's go ahead to Fort Worth. Let's go to that site and talk about that for a second. And I'll just say this to you, that until black men get together and tell the police in the cities across the country, we want you to do your jobs to serve the public. If you guys senselessly murder a black woman, man, or boy, we're going to deal with you. Until that happens, keep going. These white men are bullies. They're liars. They're fraud. Not all, but these rogue ones or not ones need to be put in check. It won't happen without that, okay? We need a Black October for rogue police officers. This thing would stop tomorrow.
Well, I got the picture of the beautiful sister that passed away due to the
not passed away. She was assassinated.
Yeah, let's say it like it is, murdered in the pool. And here she is. Here's her face, y'all. I want you guys to see the face. Carmel, Garrett. Camaro, or not R, but Camino Garrett. That's the sister that's dead. She's no longer with us. She took a swim.
It's really sad. It's sad. It's sad. This is wrong. This shouldn't have happened. By the way, people, where's Eddie Reagan, the little Negro congresswoman from? She's actually in Dallas, but where's Sheila Jackson Lee? You look like a hungry hippo with the little beehive weave on. You know that she looks serious. I mean, she does look like Fred Flintstone had a black sister. Wilma. She's just, these folks are useless. They're dead to us. They're useless to us. We should be against these people. Expose them.
Well, calm down.
In fact, I'll tell you something. The day that black people start giving folks a hard time, pressing back on people selling out, that people will come up. It's sort of like being a coach. If you demand more from your team, you'll get more.
Yes.
If you demand more from your sellout, compromise, no good black leaders, you'll do that better.
But that money, that magical dollar. You want to talk about magic?
Maybe she's not getting that much. And you know that she was wearing that Pandora ring. You know she had a Pandora ring on, that little triangle ring that says you mess with kids.
Really?
I don't
That's
know
what
if it's
that means.
just her bad taste in jewelry or she's trying to make a sexuality statement. She needs to lose that thing.
Man, I can't believe that. It's just so sad, Doc. It's just so dead. We have the doggone information. We know the root of this thing, but yet nobody wants to address it.
What's the selfishness and the cowardice in our community, man? And it's got to stop. You know, what can I say?
I mean, I'm really big about looking into people's eyes. You know, like on photographs. I think you can see stuff. And I'm sitting here looking at this lady's eyes, and all I'm seeing in her eyes is life. You know, obviously this was a good picture. She was dressed up a little bit. You know, I see life. I see a decent sister, a decent person, a decent human being that was just snatched up, ripped off. Not rest in peace, but
and
ripped
she's
off.
spending time with her nephew. Spending time with her nephew.
I'm just, you know, we saw the pregnant woman get beat up today. Now we see another sister get pieced out by bacterium or virus. But yet we just continue on. You know, that could have been your sister, Yao. That could be your mother, Yao. And for some of you, Sister Hinton, that could be you. Now, I know you're not going to be foolish enough to jump into the situation because now you're educated, but, you know, this could be my sister. This could be my mom. This could be my cousin. This could be, you know, my daughter. This could be any one of a gantry of people.
It doesn't have to be anybody I know. It's simply one of my people. It shouldn't happen at all.
Right.
Period. I'm tired of black folks. They need a connection to everything, you know?
Yes.
You know, if the house of the wrecking ball was knocking down the house where I knew someone, then I would be against gentrification, but I don't know the people that live there. Maybe their house needs to be knocked down. Black folks always look for reasons not to care.
Yes.
So all I'm going to say about that case is that black folks are going to have to tell the police, like they did in 1919. I didn't mention that, but in D.C., there was an instruction: shoot police on sight. I'm not saying shoot policemen now, but I'm saying in that riot situation, because the white police were disarming blacks so they could be murdered by white mobs all over the country. The people did not respect the uniform or the badge of the police, who were basically killing people under the cover of law. Okay, this did happen. It did happen. Yes, it did.
Yeah, I want to say this to the young brothers and sisters so that you guys get this. We don't need badasses. We don't need people going out there beating up people and shit. That's irrelevant, because all that does is keeps the gun out your hand. You know why? Because once you get that assault case, you're a felon. Once you're a felon, you cannot possess a firearm legally. Now you can possess a black powdered rifle or a black powdered handgun, but that's old school. That's like, you know, Pilgrim Days type firearm. We need for you to be smart. We need for you to be calculative, and we need for you to be decisive on what you do. You do things because it's constructive to you. Now, it's okay to be upset about things. It's okay to be mad. But don't get caught up in the current of this thing and go out and do something foolish. We need you not to be damn felons, is what I'm saying. That means don't go out there and trick. Don't go out there and pimp. Don't go out there and do drugs or sell drugs. Don't go out there and commit assault, because that's the fastest way you'll find your ass a felon. I'm not saying you stay up in jail. This is beyond just going to jail. This is once you get out, you won't be able to possess the tool you need, because a gun is nothing more than a tool, y'all. And it's up to the person wielding that tool how it will be used. And if you legally don't have a right to possess this tool, you're at a fundamental disadvantage. So don't become a felon. Don't get locked up. Going to jail is not cool. Man, there was a few years ago, doctor, I was hanging out. This before I went to California, this back in the 90s. Met this brother, man. I was down in Potosi, Missouri, of all places. Met this brother at a little party, man. And the first thing out this dude's mouth was, man, you been to jail? he was talking to me. You've been to jail and all this. I'm like, hell to the no. And then he just went on this whole thing about glamoring how he went to this prison here and this prison there. It's like he was, how some people give you their college academic report. Yeah, I went to Harvard and I went to Yale. This dude's like, I went to this and this and this. And he was saying it like he's so fucking proud. Dude, he's a fool.
No, I had that happen to me at a family reunion. I met my cousin. And when I hadn't gone to jail, didn't use drugs, didn't drink, had no children out of wedlock, they got up and walked off from the table, didn't talk to me anymore.
Wow. Because you wasn't playing the game.
No. They didn't know how to relate to me. I wasn't that kind of person. And so they shut me off. And it's been maybe 20 years. I haven't heard from them since. I wasn't good enough to be.
In their little clique.
But you know what? Let me share something with you. I had a cousin named Mark. And I told my cousin who came by my house, and I was suspicious. And what he was doing, he had been a drug user and a lot of stuff. What he was doing was gaming, because my father and mother are people who cared about folks.
Right.
And there are a lot of folks in the drug and dealing, selling, use. They play on people that they know want the best for them, that would like for them to change their life. This is the real ugly side of users. And it's that when people love them, care about them, and they violate them. They don't rob them, but they cheat them. They manipulate. They dog them, right?
Right.
What? This man knew my father cared for him. My father wanted his life to work out for him to be a good father. He had an intention to keep doing all the bullshit he'd always done.
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw him at my house, and I knew something, because I was this drug reform stuff, I was involved, 21 years ago with a group called Students for Sensible Drug Policy. These are the beginnings of the push against mass incarceration. That's 21 years ago. So just to let you know, even if I'm not in it wrong, I've been involved in stuff. Just over the course of life, try to do what you can do, push back. This is sort of where I met Dorothy back in that time. All right. And I understood that if my cousin dealt dope, used dope, and they followed him or raided the house, they could take my parents' house away. We'd have nowhere to live because of his stuff. Right?
Right.
My father and mother never used, ever. My mother doesn't even like taking aspirin when she's sick. That's just no drugs at all, right? That's
Don't blame her. Don't blame her.
Now, so I said to my cousin, in a nutshell, Mark, I care about the family, but I have some rules. My parents don't see you like I do. I see you real good. And you're up to some bullshit. And I told him, I'm allergic to bullshit. If you come to this house, and I even think that it's not on the up and up, I won't open the door. I don't care how loud you bang on the outside. I'll simply bang from the inside of the house and look through the keyhole at you. We don't do any of the stuff that you do. We don't want any parts of it. We'd like for you to change your life, but you don't want to change.
No, they don't.
And I told him, ho, let me tell you how the story went. Just look, Mark, I don't want to go like you're going to go. I don't want to get hit by a stray bullet when they come after you 2 a.m. and shoot you down. I don't want to go too. That was the last time he and I, he visited my house that I'm aware of. It's the last time I had a conversation with him. Okay?
Because he didn't like that.
You know what happened to my cousin? Do you know what happened to him?
What happened?
He got shot at 2 a.m. Someone was chasing him, and they shot him down.
Wow.
Okay? I told him that about 5 years. I didn't want, when he's running, I don't want to die too. So you'll come by and hang out with me. Then they shoot me because I'm with you.
Yes.
I have nothing to do with any of that stuff. We have black folks who will destroy you. They're wicked. They're Luciferians in our midst. They don't care about family. It's all about them. My penis, my addiction, my fun, my stuff. And if they can use you, they talk brother and sister, they talk family, they talk kin, and it's really all about them. We have this in leadership. We have this in individuals. We have this in churches. We have to learn to avoid people who are not real brothers and sisters. And the words of Jesus, who was asked when his family crashed one of his speaking engagements, they said, "Hey, G, hey, G, hey, G. Your mama, your sister, they out here. You need to pay the light bill." Light bill. Right? And Jesus responded, "Who is my sister, my brother, my sister? Those that do the will of God, my Father." Unrighteous people aren't really your people, even if they look like you.
They're not.
That's what I've learned. And as much as I like my cousin was always going to be a hustler. He was always going to use drugs. He was always going to be BS. He was always going to be the one at the funeral when someone died prematurely from drugs from his side of the family that would come up at the altar call in the funeral and everyone get excited. The nigga was going to turn his life around. And he just wanted to play everybody.
Get a couple of dollars, a love offering.
Well, yeah, well, exactly. I'm done with that. I'm done with that. And by the way, I don't hate my cousin at all, but it's BS. And if I had not put that nigga on alert, he would have probably come by the house with some drugs. My mom get dragged off or shot because the police came over. And I lose my mom, my dad, my house, my life because this nigga didn't give a damn.
Exactly.
We have scum in our midst, and we need to get rid of the scum. In fact, I always tell people, you'll never hear about anybody getting snake bit in the Himalayas mountains. The altitude is too high for the snakes. Scum Negroes don't want to be around anything going up.
Ain't that the truth?
Exalt yourself. Get close to God. He'll exalt you. And the pathological scum Negroes will disappear. I don't have folk try to guilt me much. I don't have nothing to say to them. But bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, you need to treat trash people like a nuisance call or one of those bad robocalls. I just got one of those scam calls. And by the way, we got a new phone for our campaign, and there's some people, because we got it from Metro PCS. Okay, you know, little budget phone thing. You know, it's deep. Let me tell you something. She was upset. We said, "I'm getting calls already." She said, "Don't worry. Let me answer the phone." Because I'll tell someone, this is Atlas Debt Servicing. You have a $2,000 balance. If you block our calls, we won't be able to reach you. And then, they'll all block my ass, won't they? Yeah. And then won't call again. And so, you have a $2,000 bill. Would you like to make a settlement today? They'll hang the fuck up, won't they? You have to know. You have to know how to enjoy life. It says, resist the devil and he'll flee from you. Resist coons and they'll stop being our leaders. So, I don't know. I think we had a good run of this. It's about 4:30. We've been at this since, 2:45?
Yeah, I didn't even get track of the time. I'm engrossed.
We've had a good time, and we can do this again because I'm going to have more Baltimore news. The only thing I was going to just remind you of that this city, Baltimore and D.C., pray for it. Nearly had a riot in Baltimore last Saturday. Over 100 people were ready to kick some police in the behind. The police had to get back up. They've had mass fights between the community and the police in D.C. I remind people, D.C. and Baltimore were the epicenter of the rebellions behind Dr. King's assassination. And by the way, the mayor that called out the army and did all the repression in Baltimore was Nancy Pelosi's brother, Thomas. The more things change, the more they stay the same.
Got that right. Got that right. Real quick before you go, I know we need to wrap it up. I just want to ask you this last question. This is coming from Latoya. Ask Dr. Short about the Supreme Court decision on taking away health insurance of same-sex couples' children. I think it is a scam to attempt to push the HR 5 bill or that pedal bill.
I would say that they're right. You know, the problem that they have is that Mitch McConnell is not going to allow HR 5, which is Senate Bill 788, to be voted on. And he's not likely to be removed from his office in Kentucky. And on top of that, something very interesting. Since it can't be voted on in the Senate, it can't get to the president. So they have HR 5 stuck. Now, what has people worried that's not being discussed is all over the country, there have been movements in legislatures across the country to fight against the gay onslaught. And people are fighting against these gay bills. The drag queen story hour and other things are making people rebel across the country. The gays are fighting to get federal laws to impose their will in all the states evenly. It's interesting that they're fighting for this all the while they're looking at taking away protections from the Voting Rights Act. The very thing that you say, gay is the new black and gays are just like blacks. Well, they're taking away the protection that blacks had federally while giving to gays who are supposedly in the same boat as blacks protections that blacks never had, never needed, never requested. It is a scam. They're always going to push, and this thing is being funded. What you need to know is I don't think that the gays will do well. Clarence Thomas, Kavanaugh, Gorsuch, all of them, they're not going to get it. That's the one thing I will give the Trump people is that they have not been excessively generous. They have not been like OFAGA and all the OFAGA supporters. The black community must blame itself. The black community has been used as a Trojan horse for the LGBTQ agenda to be imposed on all Americans. And a closeted gay man named Barack Obama or Barry Soetoro and all the stupid black people who refuse to read, investigate, or look have become the stunt dummies, crash dummies, tackle dummies, cannon fodder for the gay movement.
Cannon fodder.
And like what happens with cannon fodder is it gets shot down for a futile objective often. We are nothing but cannon fodder for a strategy for another group of people who have an objective that doesn't include us.
Right.
And so you need to understand, I just had this experience going back to this Community Safety and Health Amendment Act. There's a woman by the name of Attorney George who's from Los Angeles, California, who hasn't been on the phone with me in a while because I told her months ago that the NAACP supported child prostitution, the legalization of prostitution, the whole gay LGBTQ pedophile agenda is that of the NAACP. Of course, she disagreed with me. I don't care what feminists think. Feminism is a gutter religion. Feminists they have some type of moral, ethical autism that they can't see a spade as a spade, especially if you put men involved. All of a sudden, somewhat reasonable women become just complete morons.
Right.
They are. I mean, dildo with no plastic. It was just really stupid. Okay, so this sister found out within the last 2 weeks that the NAACP, by silence, is consenting to the legalization of prostitution, which will result in the sexual enslavement of black women, girls, boys, and vulnerable men.
Wow.
The black leadership supports it.
Sexual enslavement.
Your church might support it. Al Sharpton supports it. The Urban League supports it. The National Action Network supports it. If it says black, more than likely it supports the LGBTQ agenda and the pedophile agenda, because they get money from Soros and companion organizations of philanthropists that want eugenics and they want a mass die-off.
Mm-hmm.
Almost everything you look up to and you trust wants you dead.
Yes.
The only thing that wants you to live is your God and God-fearing people. That's all you got. There's nothing else. I wish there were something else.
Wow. That's powerful.
Hold on one second, Fred.
All right. But this is a compliment what the doctor
go
said.
ahead. So tell that sister, there's another thing going on in the Supreme Court. Did you hear about the black man that worked for the funeral home in Detroit who got hired as a man? And, you know, Detroit has lots of murders. I mean, it's almost like Chicago with good music. and what's happening is that this guy gets hired as a man. He's there about 6 years, and he decides to start coming to work in women's clothes.
No.
And the management said, man, we hired you as a dude. You can't come to work dressed like this. Please don't come to work dressed like a woman. We like you. Yeah. By the way, the faggot sodomite media, I'm just trying to make someone mad. I don't really use the word that much. I don't like it, but it gets on people's nerves. They will never, ever talk about when people are loving and compassionate towards folks that are LGBTQIAPZCN. And by the way, the C is for coprofagous, and the N is for necrophilia. It's in there. That's part of the LGBTQIAP. It's having sex with dead people and eating doo-doo is part of that.
Yeah.
It is. It'll get there. It'll get there.
Fecophilia.
If you don't believe me, look up Divine. Look up Divine, the gay icon. His name is Divine. Divine ate doo-doo. It was given to him in a box like it was chocolate in the form of pink flamingo, and he ate the doo-doo, and he became a star for eating doo-doo.
Wait, Divine?
That's real.
The black
Divine.
dude?
Just look up Divine and doo-doo. You put it in, it'll come up. I'm not picking. And that happened like almost 30 some odd years ago. I'm not picking on anyone. This is actually a fact. It's not. See, if you don't research gay people's culture, you would think anyone talking about it hated people. I'm only talking about what they talk about. That's what Malcolm X would do. He would read what white people say and say it back to white people to get angry. How dare you cite me to me? You're supposed to believe what I want you to believe about me versus what I say or what I write down. No, honest debate is let's actually talk about what is. His name is Divine. I think he's from Baltimore, Maryland.
Divine eats dude.
And did you find it?
Not yet.
Hold it.
Well, hold on. Divine poop eating pink flamingo.
Pink flamingos. The film is called Pink Flamingo. It's a gay cult film.
Oh my God.
And that was the whole thing about eating doo-doo in a box of chocolate. And
these fools are trying to say eating dog poop could be good for you. These people are sick.
It wasn't. I don't know if it was dog. I thought it was human.
No, I mean this was another. I just clicked on the images, and the first thing that popped up. This is from treehugger.com. Eating dog poop could be good for you. I know it's totally unrelated, but it's just trying to get not only human feces but dog feces as well. I mean, what the hell? When does it stop?
Well, you know that rats eat dog doo-doo. It's good for them. Let me just share this because folks think that we're picking. They just judge people. Stop judging people. Stop judging them. You don't know them.
Yeah.
No,
I stopped judging them when they stopped judging me.
Did you find it?
I found Snopes. What they're saying about it. Someone thought that he.
Hold on.
This is just disgusting.
I'm going to put it in again. Hold on 1 second. My this Wi-Fi signal is weak in here. I'm going to pull it up and I'll read it to you. I'm certain there's a Wikipedia article on it, And it's not my imagination. I didn't judge anyone. I didn't pick on anyone. I keep repeating this because I hope it gets on people's nerves. At a certain point, they're going to realize if we're talking about it, it's just because it's so. They say it is. They say eating doo-doo is good. They say that doo-doo is good. I don't agree with that.
I don't agree with that.
I always wash my hands. I'm afraid something got on my hands. But okay, pink flamingo. No. Oh, yeah, pink flamingo. Wikipedia.
Oh yeah. Well, this is wiki quotes, but I just pulled up.
Yeah, it's a 1972 American exploitation comedy. This is an actual thing.
Yes, there it is. Direct it and produce it, film, counterculture drag queen.
Baltimore. It was produced in the vicinity of Baltimore, Maryland.
I never even heard of this film. I have never heard of this film.
Look at this. The film is the first semi-clandestine that's received one reception from film critics and the LGBT community, despite being banned in several countries. It has been a cult film for several decades.
This is just filthy and horrible.
Wait a second. Hold it. Here it is. The Marbles arrive at the trail to spy on Divine's birthday party. Her birthday gifts include poppers. Poppers is the pills that you take, the nitrates to loosen the muscles in the anus so you can be penetrated. Fake vomit. Lice shampoo. That's called, I forget the name of it. Quell. It was a lice shampoo to kill the scabies. The lice, pubic lice. It was called Quell, I think was the name. A brand I knew because they spoke had it in my dorm. A pig's head and a meat cleaver. The entertainer includes a topless woman with the snake act and a cartoonish who flexes his prolapsed anus and rhythm to the song Surfing Bird. A prolapsed anus means that his lower intestine falls out of his behind, so you can see something that looks like a pink balloon sagging out of his anus.
So that's a hemorrhoid, ain't it? Basically, it's a hemorrhoid.
That's not a hemorrhoid. No. That's your lower intestine falling out of your rear end.
Oh, God. So this guy's probably already dead then.
Yes, he probably is already dead.
This is absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible.
This is what people want. Look at this. Divine Crackers and Cotton enthusiastically decide to move to Boise, Idaho, the site of a gay scandal from 1955 to 57. Spotting a small dog defecating on the sidewalk, Divine scooped up the feces with her hand and puts them in her mouth, proving, as a voiceover narration by Water State, Divine is not only the filthiest person in the world, but also the world's filthiest actress.
Wow.
They eat dog doodoo in this movie. It's a cult favorite of gays. Why do they like a movie where people eat dog doodoo?
Because they eat human doodoo.
This is written down on Wikipedia. This is not Randy picking on anyone, picking on no one. And that same drag queen that eats doodoo, they want them to read to little kids in the library. Do you want your kids to eat dog doodoo from listening to Divine read to them?
See dog poop. See me scoop. Gobble up poop. That's what he'll be reading. Instead of see dog run, see spot sit, see spot go.
Well, I just want to see it. It's not picking. I don't hate nobody.
I'm posting this link in the chat room.
That I just read you what the Wikipedia says.
You make up your own mind, folks.
Well, no, you don't make up your own mind. You can't change what that person ate at mock or real doo-doo in a film. And people consider that art.
Well, I consider it something, but you take that art and you throw that out the window. I consider it horrible. I consider it disgusting. I'm just this effed up, man. This is effed up. I can't believe that. This is horrible. So somebody would actually spend that much energy and time putting this type of filth on film.
Well, remember, it's one of the largest grossing genres of film is porn. It makes more money than Hollywood movies make. They're cheap to make, and they get lots more money.
Well,
so the next time someone says, man, they making more movie than Hollywood. Sure they are. But how many of them do you see in the theaters?
Wow, Doctor. Every time you're on the show, we learn something new. Every time. You know, this is just horrible. So, it's inhuman.
Keep it real. Yeah, and it's and you know what? These people who want to eat dog doo-doo want to be considered the same as your mom and your dad and your grandparents.
Sorry, I just can't do that.
Love is love. Even if I have dog doo-doo stains on my teeth, love is love. Love is love. Don't judge.
Oh, I'm sorry, I have to.
Open your mind. Do you realize how much I have to open my mind to accept eating dog doo-doo? I can't believe in anything anymore in order to accommodate their stuff.
You open your mind too much, you have an open behind.
It's a zero-sum game. And by the way, they always say get out of our bedrooms when they're trying to get into your kid's room, and in reality, yours too. Now, I'm about to sign off, but I want to go back to this man in Michigan. The black man in Michigan who's suing over job discrimination because he got fired from the funeral parlor that he kept going to, dressed up like a woman. He claims he was discriminated against. And what happened was that here he is with his beard, and he's got women's clothes, and you have families grieving deaths, murders. Yeah. And there's this dude with the beard on walking around with the dress. Can I help you? Like, yeah, put some fucking men's clothes on. If you can help me.
Can I help you?
Right?
Right.
Yeah, yes. The people got angry. So the person that owns the parlor had to say, hey, look, y'all got go. I can't do this. And so it's in the Supreme Court. Now, think of Amber Geiger's family victims, Sandra Bland or Shamir Rice. They would never get to the Supreme Court with a murder, but a black man being used to destroy black businesses. Funded by queer co-lawyers and the racist white sodomite movement that's attacking black people through our same-sex sexuality coon collaborators. They're attacking us. Now, brother, I'm going to say this. I don't believe in putting your hands on anybody.
Right.
I'm never going to advocate it. But I do know this. In history, people reach a breaking point.
Yes.
Here in Baltimore, a month and a half ago, a boy, last name was Reese, I believe. This boy was shot 17 times. He was, a drag queen, young drag queen. One in Florida was burned alive in a car.
Wow.
Horrific deaths. I don't want these things to happen. But, they've done polls. Younger people who feel bullied by these sexuality people, they don't have any patience or empathy of people our age. All these folks out here, they're going to catch from these millennials and younger. They're a lot meaner and a lot less patient. You're going to see a lot of people. You're going to see Jamaica-style killings of people around sexuality, stuff that never happened for people our age.
Right.
The kind of person like me, the bigot, the hater, the abuser, right? Which is what would be said.
Well, you know what? I'm done.
The generation,
I'm cool. I'm
the generations coming, they're going to be so much harder. They're gonna think people like you and I were just chump weaklings that didn't want to stand up. And then the folks are going to miss the people like us who would debate, who would try to talk. As I always quote Dr. King, the people are going to come along and shove me aside, and they're going to get some. They're going to beat the hell out of folk, and I won't be relevant. Screw you. Shut up, old nigga. You don't know nothing. And this is so I'll keep doing the right thing. So when it hits, when you see this, because it's already happening in D.C., they're going around, gangs of boys beating up these people, which I'm against, by the way. I'm saying, no, you can't do that. But you know what? Would they listen to me? No. This is what goes with that. And a lot of people have a lot of nerve, like this Community Safety and Health Amendment Act. Why don't you think there'll be violence against men that sell their bodies when there's violence against women that sell theirs? You have that man down in Texas whose last name is Little, a black man who's murdered a minimum of 50 women.
I've heard about
50. 50. Women that go into the sex business get killed, get beaten, get robbed.
Yes.
What do you think will happen to the men?
It's the same thing. It's a game of
And I
violence
think
and
they'll
power.
get killed more. They'll get killed more often than women do. I'm gonna be honest with you. They'll get killed more than women do. Why?
Because people are covering up their dirty deeds.
Not just that. You know, if you try to cheat a woman out of $20, she may not be able to fight your ass back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but dude, you're gonna need some lethal force. I want $50. You said 25. Well, I changed my mind. And so I changed the caliber gun, Pat. And see, and watch, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Sister gonna take somebody's wallet, call them at their job. I got your wallet. And the guy forget that the phone has a GPS in it. Go, you the punk that took my wallet. Why'd you call me at my job? I told you not to. Right?
Oh my God!
And it's gonna be on. It's gonna be on. It's gonna be on. TruePowerIsMine. It's not. I don't want this stuff. I want our people to be righteous, man.
Yes.
But, you know, I'm just a boring nobody in my little stupid Jesus. I mean, shoot, everybody knows that sexual desire is more important than God, holiness, righteousness, or life everlasting. So, you know, be that as it may, I'll be with the despised few. I would at least like to live to be 80, maybe 85, especially with some money, maybe 100. It'd be nice for someone in my family, male, to live longer. We've been dying early in my family. I'd like to live, shoot, I think I could do another 50 years of this, especially if stuff turned around. So, and I'm probably going to start a family all late and stuff. I want to die when my kid is in first grade. So, I think I want to live a little bit. So, and for everybody, pray for people. There's a sexual confusion, a great delusion in the land. A lot of people don't even know what they're caught up in. I talk to people every now and then, and you'd be amazed. A lot of young folks, they've been sold all these wonderful stories of how great gay is. You know, when you go to school and you're young, they will tell you the dangers of teen pregnancy when you're a straight boy or a straight girl. But in order not to be homophobic, they never tell you that there are any problems with being gay.
Right.
So it's been sold and it's wonderful. There's no pregnancy. You can be with your friends and like each other. And you can do it practically anywhere. And you don't have to buy fur coats and go to Red Lobster to get some. Your buddy will just give it to you. Unlike a woman, right? You have to do all this stuff. And right. And they just sold them all this wonderful stuff without telling them anything that I've mentioned today, like septicemia or having a rectal prolapse. None of this stuff ever comes up.
It never will.
And it's sad. So people have been sold a whole bunch of false stuff. And like the women have been told, oh, it was so wonderful to be a lesbian. Have you ever seen lesbians fight? I mean, it's even better than Muhammad Ali back when he was in his prime. She's really fighting great fights too. I mean, they fight all the time, everywhere, on the bus, in church.
Yeah.
It is not a perfect thing when you're a lesbian. They're problem. And a woman will swing on and pop another woman and see, If two women fight, no one will care. If a woman punches a man in the face and he swings back, man, don't hit a woman, right?
Right.
But if two women beat each other, nobody will care.
World
and this
star.
is the thing that women don't realize is the minute you stop being in a relationship with men, there's no real protection for you from women because everyone sort of gave women a pass that it's so wonderful and peaceful and perfect. And therefore, when you get beat up by your girlfriend, people say, oh, that's just two ladies. So they're having difficulty today. They don't see it as someone being victimized or being bullied,
assaulted.
Or the one that considers that's trying to be the one that wants to be the jolly green giant instead of a woman that's beating you. No one really cares about that. And so, on top of that, when you realize that the woman is ugly and funky and she snores and her feet are crusty, the guy that you were with got pedicures and took better care of himself, plus he paid for stuff that he got. And he wasn't hormonal and didn't have a cycle or monthly. You want to get with him, and then she doesn't let anyone male, even your father or your brother, any male speak to you because they're afraid you're going to go back to dudes.
Right.
So a lot of people are in bondage. They're not free.
Sexual bondage.
The gay world is not a fantasy island.
No, it's more like Insanity Island.
Or Devil's Island.
Oh, there it is.
You can't get off. Remember that movie, Papillon? Steve McQueen, that was trying to get off the island. So just pray for them, man. They need love, compassion, transformation.
Yeah.
And this is a target at all. And everything is contaminated. The church is gone. It's all broke back. The music is broke back. The movies are broke back. The cartoons for kids are broke back. I mean, SpongeBob
Sesame Street's broke back. Straight up Sesame Street.
is broke back. Everybody. The young people don't even have an opportunity to see anything modeled for them that is okay. And then, your mama, she doesn't shave or trim. She wears pants. She's got more tattoos than Popeye. I mean, it's just real, it's real stupid what young people come up in. And we just have to pray that something open their eyes, that there's a great awakening while there's a chance. Because the purge is coming. I saw it first in 1979. I had an anxiety attack in downtown D.C. because of the first big gay march. I went down with some friends for ice cream. I didn't know that march was there. I saw it. And I'm not scared of people that are gay. I broke into a run like Jesse Owens. I'd never done that before. I still remember where I was, man. I was like, I felt like the angels was Rock, man, trying to get to a safe place. And that year was 79. That's 40 years ago. And I have just seen so many people die. Within 3 weeks, there was a funeral. Young man my mother looked up to died from AIDS, doing stuff in the community. But you can't, the Bible says a well can't give sweet and bitter water. You can't swallow cum and speak truth to you. Okay, you got to make up your mind what you're gonna be.
Well, it's just like that Malik Yobi guy. He's sitting here saying he's a straight guy, but he's sleeping with transsexuals, and he has like a youth deal where he interacts with young boys.
You know what? What's his name? I'm a freak yogurt. I never liked him. I've never seen New York Undercover. In fact, I don't want to see Malik Yoba undercover either. Okay,
but he is an undercover brother. Just for the record.
He's never impressed me. There's nothing interesting about him. He needs to get mental psychotherapy. I'm sorry that someone popped him in the booty and he has to buff up and look like he's a tough black man. In reality, he wants his little Jimmy sucked by a guy who's effeminized. He wants to victimize others like he's been victimized. How can he be anybody's leader? The only thing he's leading folks to is an AIDS clinic and a bunch of retroviral prescriptions that they can't afford.
Pain and sorrow.
He should be cast out until he gets himself together. I'm with Judge Joe Brown. I'm angry about it. I resent him. I had lots of people I grew up around that were molested. I wish they had gotten help. And he has money. He can find someone to talk to.
He don't want help.
Go off somewhere, get himself together. He can even get his rectum reconstructed, whatever his problem is. He he wants to spread the pain.
Yeah.
And that's the unforgivable part for me. If he had said, I mess with friends, I have regrets, this is what happened to me, and I'm trying to get myself together, and I'm straight.
No, you're not.
You were not straight. You were not straight. You haven't been straight from the time that you knew this thing happened to you, that you didn't get someone to help you get yourself corrected.
Yes.
So you're compromised. The compromise wasn't your fault, but the decision not to get help to work through resolving the issues that happened to you when you were young, that's on him. He's a grown-ass man. You're grown enough to be a pedophile. You're grown enough to try to be like a Pied Piper of LGBTQ BS. I blame you. Yes, I do. I'm against this behind until he does something different.
Righteous. All right. Well, let's wrap this thing up because I have a feeling that we could go on for another 2 hours.
No. We're not good. We're going to stop now. I got to do a Bible study, and forgive me. Yes, I used some foul language, but I think it was appropriate. In fact, folk listen to foul language all the time. It's never pointing towards anything positive. So
exactly.
That's how that is. Let me check out. Much love to you, bro. We'll talk again.
Yes, sir. And also for those who didn't catch the first part of the show, please help fund Dr. Short. He needs war bonds. He needs the funding to continue his great work. At Cash App, it's the number, the $, then it's a capital D, an R, a capital RANDY, capital SHORT. Cash App Dr. Randy Short, or if you can, maybe you can fix him up at Patreon. And there's his Patreon. It's patreon.com/Dr. Randy Short, all one word, no spaces. And you can hit him up there. Like I said,
and also we can do fake PayPal. PayPal is wrandyshort@gmail.com. That's the PayPal. WRANDYSHORT@gmail. It's a PayPal. Now, here's what I also want. If you're in the Baltimore area, if you're in Howard County, Baltimore County, we need volunteers. We got to get Cummings A** out. Him and his walker and his wife, who had a whole bunch of jobs in a short period of time in D.C. Normally, that means, you've given out more skin than a bunch of snakes in shedding season. These people shouldn't be in power. They're not looking out for us. We need volunteers. We need folks who can help us have a revolution here in Baltimore. And it's bigger than just Reba. We're looking to work with other candidates in other states to have a rebellion against this corrupt, brokeback, sellout, coon, healthy illegals, and everybody but black folks in the Democratic Party as well. We're against the Republicans who will sell out Republicans that only dog black people as if you're supposed to be rich after 400 years of oppression. And we broke because we've never been paid. And so I want to let y'all know we want a check. We want our check. In fact, I want derivatives too. Give me some of that. I mean, if it's out here, I want a piece of it. We need it. Our ancestors need it.
Yes.
Okay, let me get out of here. Peace out, my brothers and sisters.
Peace out. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Wow, yeah. I just want to give thanks and praises to God Almighty. I want to thank the caller on the first show. I want to thank Dr. Short on this show. We had back-to-back shows today because we can. Quite frankly, we can. And I sincerely hope that you all share this. I know that the view count was up to like 100 and something people, but we only had 44 likes. Now, it ain't about the likes. I ain't tripping on that. But let you know there's a lot of people out here listening to this that might not agree with what we're talking about, but they're hearing this. And maybe over time, it will penetrate the hate in their spirit. This will conclude TPIM. That's our live. Today's date, October 13, 2019, the year of our Lord. As always, I ask you to live your life with integrity without hate, envy, or greed. Brothers and sisters, please, let's try to be kinder to each other. Peace, power, love, unity, dignity, and respect, and liberation. I'm out.